The Wassamasaw Tribe of Varnertown Indians has been a distinctive native community since before the 1700s. The tribe has 8 tribal symbols that represent the historical traditions that gave prosperity to our community and people. These 8 symbols can be divided into 4 categories: heritage symbols, earth symbols, gaming symbols, and cultivation symbols. We will begin with the heritage symbols. The Seashell. Coastal tribal people, like the Edouin and Edistohu, utilize many elements of the water to enhance their daily life. Shells were used in many ways. Shellfish such as oysters and clam were a large part of the diet. The shells were used as raw materials for adornments such as beads, or made into tools. The shells were also used in ceremonies and placed on grave sites. The Varnertown people would take items or notes for their deceased loved ones and place them under the shells on the graves. Next is the tree. The tree represents the many live oak and pine trees that surround the settlement community off the Cherokee Path where the community stands today. The live oak and pine trees provided many resources for the community. Not only are they used for shade and decorations, but they are a source of timber for building and construction. Sapling oaks are utilized for the construction of oak splint basket weaving, a long-standing tradition in the community. Known for their strength and size, many of the oaks were used for meeting places and ceremonies. Next, we can move on to the earth symbols. The corn. The corn represents the staple of the diet in the community. Corn is grown and utilized in the many dishes that the people eat. Corn grits, cornbread, and cornmeal are just some of the ways corn was used. The husks were braided or weaved into sleeping beds, baskets, or made into dolls. Later, the use of corn was greatly used into the making of moonshine. Corn is easily used and preserved. It remains an important staple of the community diet. Next is the leaf. This symbolizes the medicine and the knowledge of healing used by the elders of the community. Tribal elders utilize home remedies that have been passed down to family members to treat illness and injuries. Now we move on to the gaming symbols. The fish. Fish was a huge staple in the Varnertown community diet. Being a coastal people, fish was readily available and utilized. Many, if not most, members have a love of fishing to this day. Next is the deer. The deer represents the hunting skills that are still active and utilized today. Traditionally, they would hunt deer and wild hog. Additionally, squirrels, opossums, turkeys, ducks, and birds were trapped and hunted for food. And finally, we have the cultivation symbols. The flower. This symbol designates the skills the ancestors used to cultivate plants. Many of their ancestors would work with plants that they cultivated from the surrounding area. Their knowledge of plant life was sought after, and many worked with neighboring plant nurseries through the years. The last symbol is the jug. Pottery was a part of our traditional arts, which the jug represents, but it also symbolizes the history of moonshine or corn liquor in the Varnertown community. Several prominent ancestors were known for the making of moonshine or brandy. The community grew its own corn, and when sugar was limited, members would utilize sorghum for fermentation. Moonshine has a long-standing history in the Varnertown Indian community. The sale of moonshine helped the families to purchase items that the community could not grow or make. These symbols help give others a brief look into the history and culture of the Wassamasaw Tribe and the Varnertown people.